This story is titled "My Wife Left Me for a Better Man Because I'm an Electrician." 2 days later, she lost everything, and the electrician she underestimated had the power cut, and now she is begging. Hey everyone, before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. What's up, Reddit? Never thought I'd be one of those guys posting their relationship drama online, but here we are going to lay out the whole show that's been my life these past few months. Buckle up. I'm Alex, 34, male, been an electrician since I was 19, started as an apprentice making money, worked my way up to journeyman, then master electrician. 5 years ago, I started my own business, nothing fancy, just me and 2 other guys wiring up houses and doing commercial jobs around town, make decent money now, enough to be comfortable without being rich. Me and Jessica, 31, female, met at my buddy Dave's housewarming party 6 years back. She was his girlfriend's friend from college. Not gonna lie, first thing I noticed was her hourglass body, but what actually got me hooked was how she laughed at my dumb jokes, like genuinely laughed, not that fake polite giggle most chicks do when they're just being nice. We hit it off right away. She was working at this marketing firm downtown, doing something with social media accounts for local businesses. She was smart as hell, always had something interesting to say, not like those boring dates where you're desperately trying to keep the conversation going. Our first date was at this dive bar that has the best wings in town. She showed up in jeans and a t-shirt. I knew right then I was in trouble. 3 years of dating, 3 years married, built what I thought was a pretty decent life together. I was busting my ass getting my electrical business going, sometimes working 14-hour days, crawling through attics in the middle of summer or wiring new constructions in the freezing cold, but it was worth it. We bought a modest 3-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, nothing fancy, but it was ours, well, mostly mine since I put down most of the down payment, but whatever. In the beginning, Jessica seemed to genuinely appreciate what I did. She'd have dinner ready when I got home from a long job. Listen to me, sir, about the general contractor who nearly got himself electrocuted because he couldn't wait for me to kill the power. She'd bragged to her friends about how her man could fix anything. Used to wear my old work shirts to bed, said they smelled like me, never complained about my calloused hands or the fact that some days I came home so tired I'd fall asleep on the couch before dinner. Weekends were simple but good. We'd work on house projects together. She actually got pretty decent with a paintbrush and could hold her own with basic power tools. We'd have friends over for BBQs, binge watch shows, try new restaurants. Normal couple. Sir. Took a vacation once a year, nothing extravagant, usually a beach somewhere within driving distance, but we had fun. But I'm going to be real, there were probably signs that things weren't as perfect as I thought, but when you're grinding every day trying to build something, you don't always see what's right in front of your face, and honestly, I've never been the most observant guy when it comes to emotional undersurf. My dad was old school, fix things, provide, protect. Talking about feelings wasn't exactly part of the training manual. Things were good for the first couple years of marriage. We talked about kids, but agreed to wait until my business was more stable and she got to a better position at her company, had a decent little savings building up. I was landing bigger contracts. She got a promotion. Everything was on track. Her family liked me well enough. Her dad appreciated that I worked with my hands and built something from nothing. Her mom was always a bit snooty, typical suburban Karen, who thought her daughter could have landed a doctor or lawyer, but I won her over by fixing everything in their house. Whenever we visited, nothing builds goodwill with the in-laws like solving the plumbing problem that's been driving them nuts for months. My family loved her. My mom was just happy I found a girl who could put up with me. My dad thought she was a little too into social media and brand names, but he kept that to himself mostly. My younger brother thought she was hot, the little undersur, but respected our relationship. We had a good group of friends, 2 mix of my construction buddies and our marketing coworkers, regular game nights, summer cookouts, fantasy football league that got way too competitive. Normal undersur, a good life if you'd asked me then. I would have said we were solid, not perfect, but solid. We had the normal fights, the kind every couple has. Dumb stuff like dishes sitting in the sink or me tracking mud into the house. She'd get annoyed when I forgot some event with her friends, and I'd get irritated when she spent too much money on clothes or makeup. But nothing major, no red flags, at least none that I saw. Man, typing all this out now, it feels like watching the beginning of a horror movie where everything seems fine, calm even, but deep down you know the serial killer is about to jump out. Except in my case, the monster was wearing Victoria's Secret and sleeping next to me every night. The first real sign something was changing probably started about 8 months ago. That's when Jessica began talking more and more about this new guy at work. Mike with his MBA from some fancy school. Mike with his amazing ideas for the company. Mike who was going places. I should have paid more attention when my wife couldn't go 5 underscore minutes without mentioning another dude's name. But like I said, I was focused on growing my business, landing contracts, managing my small crew. I didn't realize I should have been paying attention to what was happening right under my own roof. But then it became constant. Mike this, Mike that. Mike thinks we should approach the Johnson account differently. Mike went to Cancun last year and said we should go. Mike says my ideas have real potential. Pretty soon I'm hearing about Mike's underscore breakfast choices and his workout routine, like I give a underscore that Mike does CrossFit and eats avocado toast. Around this time, Jessica started coming home later from work. It started small, with team happy hours that were supposedly mandatory for team building. Once a week became twice, then 3 times. She'd roll in around 800 or 900 p.m. Slightly buzzed, smelling like a mix of bar and perfume. When I'd ask about her day, she'd get this distant look, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. She also started making these little comments about how her college friends were doing so much with their lives. One had just bought a vacation home in Colorado. Another got promoted to VP at some tech company. There was always this weird undertone to it, like somehow our life wasn't measuring up. Mike says I have real management potential. He thinks I should be aiming higher, she'd say while scrolling through Instagram, barely looking at me, while I was trying to tell her about landing a big contract for a new office building downtown. It felt like my success didn't count because I wasn't wearing a underscore suit to work. Then came the changes in how she looked. She started dressing differently for work, clothes I'd never seen before. More makeup, a new hairstyle, new perfume that probably cost more than my work boots. She began getting her nails done every single week instead of every few months for special occasions. The gym was next. Suddenly, my wife, who used to groan about even walking the dog around the block, was hitting the gym at 6 a.m. before work. Not just any gym, some fancy place downtown with classes, smoothies, and personal trainers. $200 a month, compared to the perfectly good $30 a month place 5 minutes from our house. And she was coming home later and later, always saying she showered at the gym after her workout, so she'd arrive home freshly cleaned, makeup perfect, hair done, at 88 or 900 p.m. Because that's totally normal after a sweaty gym session, right? Now, I'm not the jealous type. Never have been. I'm not the guy who checks his girl's phone or tracks her location. I've always believed trust is either there or it isn't, and if it isn't, then the relationship is already underscore. But I'm also not stupid. I started noticing things. She was always on her phone, but the moment I came near, she'd turn the screen away. I caught her texting late at night, the brightness turned all the way down. She'd take calls and suddenly need to step outside for better reception, in a house that has never had reception problems. One night I woke up around 2 a.m. to use the toilet and she wasn't in bed. I found her in the kitchen, furiously texting someone. When she saw me, she nearly dropped her phone, then quickly said she couldn't sleep and was just checking work emails at 2 a.m. Sure. Then there was the money. We always had separate accounts for our own spending, plus a joint account for bills and savings. I started noticing larger than normal withdrawals from the joint account into her personal account. When I asked, she'd give some vague answer about helping her sister or investing in something for work. But the credit card statements told a different story. Charges at restaurants on nights she was supposedly at girls' night or working late. Expensive clothing stores when she claimed she was just browsing. Hotel bar charges in the middle of a workday. The final straw was Valentine's Day. I'm not usually big on that commercial underscore holiday, but I made an effort. I made reservations at this nice steakhouse she'd been wanting to try. Ordered flowers to be delivered to her office. Even bought her this silver bracelet she'd been hinting about. I texted her around noon just to make sure she'd be home in time for our 700 p.m. reservation, no response. I called at 5 o'clock, straight to voicemail. By 6:30, still nothing. I ended up sitting on the couch in nice clothes, flowers wilting on the table, a cold bracelet box sitting in my pocket. She finally strolled in at 11 p.m., clearly drunk, saying there was a work crisis and her phone died. She didn't even notice the flowers or my dress clothes, just walked straight to bed. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. When I brought it up, she got defensive, saying I was overreacting and making her feel guilty about having to work late. That's when I knew for sure something was underserved. The Jessica I married would have at least felt bad about missing Valentine's Day, would have apologized, tried to make it up to me. This new Jessica just seemed annoyed that I expected her time and attention at all. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. My first instinct was to confront her, ask if she was cheating, just have it out. But something stopped me. Maybe pride, maybe self-preservation. Instead, I decided to pay attention, really pay attention. I started keeping track of patterns. Every Tuesday and Thursday, late meetings. Every other Saturday, girls' brunch that somehow stretched all the way until dinner. She always came home with her hair done, but there were never any shopping bags from these supposed shopping trips. I checked our cell phone records online. Multiple calls and texts to the same number, always at times when she was supposedly working late or at the gym. A number that wasn't even saved in our family phone plan contact list. One day, while she was in the shower, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. Found it locked with a new passcode. Since when did she need to lock her phone from me? We used to know each other's passcodes. Not because we were checking on each other, but just for convenience. Then the work events started. Company parties, client dinners, team outings that I was suddenly not invited to. It's just for employees, she'd say. Or, it would be boring for you. The Jessica I married used to love showing me off to her coworkers, introducing me as her sexy electrician husband. I'm not the most observant guy when it comes to relationship stuff, but even I couldn't ignore what was happening. My wife was pulling away, building a separate life that I wasn't part of. The real question was what I was going to do about it. And just as I was trying to figure that out, the universe handed me a piece of real evidence. I was fixing our leaky bathroom sink when I dropped my wrench. It knocked over Jessica's makeup bag that was sitting on the counter. While I was picking up the scattered lipsticks and everything else, I found a hotel key card tucked into the side pocket. Not from any vacation we'd been on. This one was from the Marriott downtown, walking distance from her office. Weird thing to keep as a souvenir unless it meant something, right? I put it back exactly where I found it and finished fixing the sink like nothing had happened. But that key card stayed in my head, eating at me. That night, after she fell asleep, I did a deep dive into our finances. Jessica always handled the bills and budgeting, not because I couldn't do it, but because she was pickier about that stuff and I was happy to let her deal with it. I logged into our joint accounts and started going through recent statements. Found large withdrawals to her personal account over the last 3 months. We're talking $500 here, $700 there. Money that was supposed to be for our future, our savings, our life together. The credit card statements were worse. Shopping charges at stores way above our usual budget. Dinner charges on nights she told me she was eating with the girls, at restaurants that were definitely not the casual places her friends usually picked. Charges at high-end lingerie stores for stuff I had never seen her wear. Then I spotted it. A hotel charge from that same Marriott downtown from 3 weeks earlier. Just a bar charge, not a room, but still. She had never mentioned when I cross-referenced it with our messages from that day. She had told me she was working late on a big presentation. My buddy Trent works in IT security. We've been friends since high school. I'm not proud of it, but I called him and asked if he could help me access Jessica's email. Told him what I suspected. He was hesitant at first, but he'd been through a bad divorce himself after his ex cheated, so he understood. He helped me set up a simple keylogger on our home computer, just a basic program that would capture her passwords the next time she logged in. Shady? Absolutely. Legal? Probably not. But at that point, I didn't care. I needed to know what the hell was going on. 2 days later, I had her email password. And there it was. Message after message with this Mike guy. Weekend plans. Complaints about me. About how I was stuck in my underdog mindset while Mike was going places. About how she was settling by staying with me. About how she deserved more luxury in her life than I could provide. The same Mike who I now knew was her direct supervisor, who had just gotten promoted to regional director at her company. The same Mike who, according to his Facebook profile that I now stalked like a psycho, was married with a 2-year-old and another kid on the way. There were hotel confirmations, screenshots of apartment listings they were looking at together, messages planning their future after she left me. All while she was sleeping next to me every night, eating the dinners I cooked, living in the house my work paid for. One email from Mike read, "Just a few more months and my bonus comes through, then we can both leave our deadened situations and start fresh. Just be patient and keep things normal at home." I felt like I'd been punched straight in the stomach. 6 years together, 4 years of marriage, all a _ lie, or at least it had become one. I sat in my truck for an hour that night, parked outside our house, just thinking. Rage, betrayal, all that _ washing over me in waves. Part of me wanted to storm inside, pack her stuff, and throw it out on the lawn. Part of me wanted to find this Mike _ and introduce his face to the pavement. Part of me just wanted to get drunk and set something on fire. But I didn't do any of that. I'm not that guy. Never have been the type to lose control, even when every part of me wanted to. My dad always said when you're angry is exactly when you need to think the clearest. The old man was right about that, at least. So instead, I started making plans. If Jessica and Mike were plotting their exit strategy, then I needed to be 2 steps ahead. I wasn't going to be the chump left holding the bag when they decided to pull the trigger on their little escape plan. First thing I did was set up a consultation with a divorce lawyer, a guy, I'll call him Richard, the same one my buddy used when his wife cheated. Supposedly a real shark. I forwarded him all the emails I'd found, the financial records, everything. He confirmed what I already suspected. I had more than enough for an at-fault divorce on grounds of adultery. But Richard suggested something smarter than just confronting her outright. If you show your hand now, she'll just get defensive and start hiding assets, he said. Better to be strategic about this. He told me to gather more concrete evidence, photos or video if possible, document any unusual spending or asset transfers, secure my own finances before making any moves, and most importantly, act normal while doing all of it. The element of surprise is your biggest advantage right now, he told me. Once you confront her, the game changes completely. Game. That's what my marriage had become. _ game of chess where I needed to anticipate her moves and counter them before she even made them. The next day at work, I couldn't focus __. I almost electrocuted myself because I was so distracted, thinking about Jessica and Mike planning their new life together while I was out there busting my ass providing for us. My apprentice Tommy actually had to step in and remind me to test the circuit. The kid probably saved me from a nasty shock. Embarrassing as hell. That night, when Jessica came home late like usual, I forced myself to act normal. I asked about her day, listened to her lies about some stressful client meeting, even managed to kiss her goodnight without throwing up in my mouth. While she slept, I started making lists on my phone. Assets to protect, counts to separate, people who needed to know what was happening, and people who didn't. A timeline for how all of this was going to go down. The next morning, I texted her that I might have to go out of town for a big electrical job, a commercial building in Phoenix that needed a complete rewiring. Told her I'd probably be gone for about 2 weeks. Asked if she'd be okay holding things down alone. Her response came back so enthusiastic it was almost comical. "That's great, babe, such a good opportunity for you. I'll be fine here, don't worry about me." I bet you will be, I thought. I bet you _ will be. The trap was set. Now I just needed to put the rest of my plan into motion. I made a big show of packing, loading my truck with tools, kissing her goodbye. I even stopped by my parents' place on the way out so they'd think I was really leaving. Told them not to mention anything to Jessica if they talked to her. Said I wanted to surprise her with a gift from the money I'd make. Mom thought that was sweet. If she only knew. Once I was clear, I circled back to town and crashed at my buddy Tony's empty rental property about 15 minutes from my house. He'd been through his own divorce nightmare, so he understood. I needed eyes on my house, so another friend of mine, Kevin, who installs security systems, hooked me up with some discreet outdoor cameras I could monitor from my phone. We set them up while Jessica was at work. One covering the driveway, another on the front door. Nothing inside the house. I'm not that kind of creep, and honestly, I didn't want to see what might happen in my own bedroom. The first day was quiet. Jessica came home, ordered food, watched Netflix, sent me some miss you text that I answered with equally fake enthusiasm. The second day, around 700 p.m., a black Audi pulled up. Out stepped Mr. Regional Director himself, tall, gym body, expensive watch catching the streetlight. He brought wine and stayed until 3 a.m. I got it all on video, the arrival, the way they kissed at the door. Definitely not their first time. How comfortable he looked walking into my house with an overnight bag like he owned the place. The same __ happened 3 more times that week. Once, they even left together in the morning, her calling in sick while they spent the day God knows where. They ate dinner on my deck, drank my expensive whiskey I'd been saving, even took my boat out, the one I busted my ass to buy. But while I was watching this show unfold, I wasn't just sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I called my dad first, showed him everything. He was pissed, but focused. "What's the plan, son?" he asked. "Need to protect what I've built," I told him. The next few days were a blur of preparation. With Richard, my lawyer, I secured my business, since it was already an LLC in my name only. I set up new bank accounts, transferred my work equipment into the business name, changed beneficiaries on everything, and stored important documents and anything irreplaceable offsite. Most importantly, I had papers drawn up giving my dad temporary power of attorney over my business. I moved half our savings into my new account, leaving her exactly half. Everything above board, everything documented through my lawyer. By day 10, I had everything I needed. Videos, emails, financial records, and a solid legal strategy. Just one more chess move before the confrontation. I anonymously sent all the evidence to Mike's pregnant wife. She deserved to know before making life-altering decisions, just like I wish someone had done for me. With that final piece in place, I was ready to head home a day early from my so-called business trip and see Jessica's face when she saw me. So I drove home a day early from my Phoenix job, ready for the big confrontation. I had this whole speech prepared in my head. Honestly, I half expected to catch Jessica and Mike in the act, maybe get even more video evidence. But life doesn't always go the way you picture it. I pulled into the driveway and noticed something off right away. Her car wasn't there, which was weird, because my security cam showed it parked there just 3 hours earlier. I figured maybe she had gone grocery shopping or something. But when I walked inside, the house felt empty. You know that feeling when a place that's supposed to feel like home suddenly doesn't? The air was different, quieter. I called out her name. Nothing. Checked the kitchen, the living room. Then I headed to our bedroom. That's when it hit me. Her side of the closet was completely cleared out. Dresser drawers empty. The bathroom counter missing all her expensive creams and makeup. And right there on the bed was a note, folded neatly on my pillow, like this was some kind of romantic movie. "Alex, I can't do this anymore. I've moved on with someone who matches my ambitions and can give me the life I deserve. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce. Don't try to find me, Jessica." Sir, hold. Right? 6 years together, 4 years of marriage, and that's it. 8 lines on a piece of paper. Not even a full page. I sat on the edge of the bed, the note in my hand, feeling nothing. No rage, no heartbreak, just this strange emptiness. Like I was staring at the aftermath of something that had already been dead for months, and I just hadn't admitted it yet. I went to the living room, opened my laptop, and pulled up the security footage from earlier that day. There it was. Jessica and Mike loading suitcases and boxes into his Audi around noon. She was laughing as he struggled with a heavy bag, both of them looking excited, like kids sneaking out past curfew. I spent the next few hours making lists. Bank accounts, credit cards, passwords, utilities, all the practical __ that needs handling when your wife decides to vanish. I changed the locks, changed every password she might know, and called Richard, my divorce lawyer buddy, to get things moving. While checking our accounts, I noticed something interesting. She'd cleared out her personal checking account, but hadn't touched our joint savings. Either she forgot in her rush to start her fancy new life, or she was planning to come back for it once things settled. Then it hit me. The safe in my home office. I opened it, and yeah, all her important documents were still there. Birth certificate, passport, social security card. Everything you need to function as an adult in this country. She'd been in such a hurry to leave that she completely forgot the basics. Stupid. I picked up my phone to text her about it, but stopped. Richard's advice echoed in my head. Don't engage until we have everything in order. Let her make the first mistakes. I called my dad and explained the situation. He came over quickly, and we sat out on the deck talking while I transferred half our savings into a new account in my name only, leaving her half in the joint account. I'm not a thief, but I'm not a sucker either. Dad stayed over that night, and it was a good thing too because around 3 a.m. my phone started blowing up. Text after text from Jessica. Just realized I left some important things. Can we arrange a time for me to pick them up? Alex, please respond. This is childish. They're my documents. I need my passport for a new job opportunity. I shut off my phone and went back to sleep, letting her sit with her poor planning for a while. The next day felt weirdly normal. I went to work, wired a new construction site, made small talk with my crew. Nobody knew my life had just imploded, and I didn't feel like sharing. I checked my phone at lunch. 27 missed calls. Voicemails ranging from sugary sweet to straight-up threats about legal action. Mike had even called twice, trying to sound all authoritative about personal property law. I just texted Jessica once. All communication through lawyers from now on. Then I blocked both their numbers and finished my sandwich. 48 hours after Jessica's great escape, I was in the garage reorganizing my tools. What can I say? It's therapeutic. That's when I heard someone pounding on the front door. I checked my new security app, and there she was, looking a whole lot less put together than when she left. I actually laughed and took my sweet time answering. When I opened the door, she was standing on the porch, mascara smeared, hair a mess, wearing what looked like yesterday's clothes. You changed the locks? First words out of her mouth, all indignant like I'd done something wrong. Yep, I didn't invite her in. Just stood there in the doorway. I need my things, Alex. My documents. I can't do anything without them. Should have thought about that before you cleared out while I was working. Her face did that thing where she was trying to look sad and still look attractive at the same time. It used to work on me. Not anymore. Can I please come in and get my passport at least? I have a job interview tomorrow. Nope. All items will be exchanged through lawyers. I've already contacted mine. That's when she switched tactics. Started crying, shoulders shaking, the whole performance. Please, I made a mistake. Mike isn't, things aren't what I thought. I just need my documents. Not my problem. You can't legally keep my identification documents. Her voice climbed into that shrill tone I knew too well. Actually, I can secure them until proper legal exchanges are arranged. They're safe. They'll be returned through appropriate channels. She tried to push past me into the house. I stepped sideways and blocked the doorway with my arm. Jessica, you made your choice. You left. This isn't your home anymore. It's my house too. My name is on the mortgage. Might want to check that again. Mortgage is in my name only. House was purchased with my pre-marriage savings as down payment, and since you abandoned the residence without notice, you've complicated your claim considerably. Thank you, Richard, for that line. I could tell she didn't fully understand the words, but she felt them. Her face gave it away. That exact moment she realized I wasn't the pushover she thought I was. Where am I supposed to go? Mike's place is complicated. Trouble in paradise already? That was fast. She glared at me. His wife found out somehow. Showed up at his apartment screaming. Had all these emails and videos. Did you have something to do with that? I just shrugged. Sounds like karma to me. I have nowhere to go, Alex. Let me stay here until I figure things out. No, just for a few days. I'll sleep on the couch. No, you're being cruel. Full waterworks now. Cruel would be leaving someone with a note after 4 years of marriage. Cruel would be screwing your boss in our bed while I was working my ass off providing for us. Cruel would be planning to clean out our accounts once his bonus came through. Her eyes went wide. How did you? I know everything, Jessica. Every email, every plan, every complaint about my lack of whatever, while you were falling for his leased car and maxed out credit cards. She crumpled onto the porch steps, sobbing for real this time. Not for me, for her perfect exit strategy falling apart. I almost felt bad. Almost. I'll have Richard contact your lawyer about the document exchange. You should go now. I closed the door and watched through the security cam as she sat there crying for another 20 minutes before finally calling her sister to pick her up. Later that night, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over, you had no right to ruin everything, Mike. I forwarded it to Richard with one comment. More evidence for the file. The next couple of weeks, I focused on work and getting my __ together. I had a massive rewiring job for a restaurant downtown that kept me busy, and Richard was building our divorce strategy. And yeah, it's been 3 weeks since she showed up crying on the porch. The document exchange finally happened, supervised by both our lawyers at Richard's office. Jessica showed up looking rough, dark circles under her eyes, wearing clothes. I recognized the clothes she was wearing from 2 seasons ago. Guess the fancy shopping sprees were over. She tried to corner me before the meeting. We need to talk privately, Alex. Nothing to say that can't be said in front of the lawyers. Richard was a __ beast. He had everything organized, documented, ready for signature. Jessica's lawyer looked annoyed the entire time, probably because she kept interrupting him, trying to make emotional appeals directly to me. I made a horrible mistake, she said at one point, reaching across the table for my hand. We could work through this. I pulled my hand away. We're here to exchange documents, not reconcile. Her lawyer eventually had to step in and tell her to stop because she was making things worse. That seemed to finally snap her into reality. As we were wrapping up, I found out through Richard that Mike's situation had completely imploded. His pregnant wife, Emma, had filed for divorce with evidence of multiple affairs, not just with Jessica. The company had fired both Mike and Jessica for violating policy about manager-employee relationships. He was even facing possible legal action for using business trips to carry on his affairs. Jessica had been staying with her sister, but wore out her welcome after a week of non-stop crying and drama. I also heard she tried moving in with Mike, but that lasted all of 3 days before reality hit. 2 unemployed people, drowning in legal bills, stuck in his expensive apartment that he could barely afford even when he had a job. Meanwhile, my life started moving in the opposite direction. The business picked up. I landed 2 major commercial contracts that are going to keep us busy all year. I bought a new truck, not to show off, just because I actually needed it for work. The divorce is moving fast. Jessica left voluntarily, wrote a note about moving on with someone else, and there's solid evidence of the affair. It's about as straightforward as it gets. Richard thinks it'll be wrapped up in record time. She still tries to reach out sometimes. Texts from random new numbers saying she misses what we had, that she made the biggest mistake of her life. I don't respond. There's nothing left to say. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents in Ohio. And Mike? Pretty sure he's crashing on his brother's couch and doing DoorDash just to keep up with child support. Their grand romance didn't even last a month in the real world. Some of my friends have asked if I regret how I handled everything. If I was too harsh, too calculated. I tell them the same thing every time. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when they're planning to screw you over, there's no shame in protecting what you've built. My old man always said something that stuck with me. In electrical work, you plan for the worst-case scenario, because it only takes one mistake to kill you. Turns out that applies to marriages too. Life's not perfect now, but it's real and it's mine. I met this girl at a job site the other day. We've been grabbing coffee after work a couple times a week, and yeah, I'm starting to feel something. Nothing serious yet, but there's just something about a woman who can thread a pipe and talk circuit breakers that works for me. She laughs at my dumb jokes. Jessica used to think she was the only woman on earth who laughed at my jokes. And this one, she doesn't check her phone every 5 seconds when we're together. It's crazy how you don't realize what you were missing until you finally have it. No regrets. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, Reddit. You guys helped more than you know. Edit. Holy undersir. Thanks for the gold. And to answer the most common question, no, I won't take Jessica back. Not even if she changes. Some wires, once crossed, can't be fixed.